Hi, it's Rich Tehrani with TMCnet. Thanks for watching. We're in Silicon Valley this week for our Editors Day 2016. Specifically, we're in Santa Clara speaking with David Staas, and he's with NinthDecimal. And David, welcome to the show. How are you?
Great, thanks. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Our pleasure. So I like to, for a company that I haven't spoken with prior on camera, I like to just ask, tell us a little bit about, in your words, your company, what you do.
Sure. So NinthDecimal is a marketing platform powered by location data. So we harness trillions of data points from the mobile location data ecosystem coming off of that smartphone. And we turn that into a pretty precise understanding of consumers' physical world behavior. Namely, how do people go about their daily life out in the physical world? Our customers are their agencies, brands, publishers, TV networks. All those marketers can activate on all of that customer intelligence through a couple different services: audience targeting services, measurement services, as well as customer insights, and better understand who is their customer and what is that path to purchase that they're making. So they can really run very effective marketing programs from start to finish.
So when you say effective marketing programs, does the marketing get to the customer while they're at locations? Is that the kind of marketing we're talking about here?
That's part of it, absolutely. So if you think of the traditional applications of location data, very much exactly what you just defined. I'm going to put a geofence around a location when somebody is in that geofence. Let's say I want to reach a coffee drinker when they're within a mile of a coffee shop, and I can reach them at that point in time. So that's one application. We take a very different approach, though. We take I think a much broader approach to the ways that we can leverage these kind of signal in the marketplace. I think largely the industry is only beginning to scratch the surface on what's possible. So if you think of using historical data around an audience, not just somebody who's currently within a mile of a coffee shop, but somebody who goes to a coffee shop in that same coffee shop every morning. Right? We begin to understand that pattern. We understand that historical behavior. We can also understand, hey, that person is a mom or a dad or has these other preferences and tends to go to these other types of locations. And I want to create a very unique, rich audience and then reach them when they're near that coffee shop. That's going to be more of our approach.
And how is it that you're able to get the data?
So we partner with about 75,000 location-based mobile apps. Those partnerships come in a range of different ways that we work together. In a lot of cases, we provide services to those publishers. We help them better understand who their own audience is, who their customers are. We can provide measurement solutions for advertising that they may be running on those on their apps. But they provide us two things. They give us a device identifier, essentially a cookie for mobile, as well as a latitude, longitude set of coordinates. And from that, we're able to build all that intelligence on our platform to take a very basic signal and recognize, hey, this is a mom with young kids, a household income of $150,000, shops at Walmart 3 times a week, and her favorite restaurant is Chili's.
So I mean, this is really, really useful information for companies.
It is. From a targeting perspective, if you think about the biggest challenge for any marketer is, hey, look, I have two big objectives when I'm out there today. I want to be able to reach my customers and retain my loyal customers and perhaps grow my loyal customer base. I also want to prospect and find new customers and bring them over to my business. The more efficient I can do that, the more relevant I can make my messaging and my advertising to those segments, the better I'm going to be able to execute on that. And that's what is kind of at the core of what we do. And then once I've been able to do that, then I want to do additional things. I want to understand how effective that advertising was. I want to be able to go deeper and understand what are the behaviors of my customer, what are the types of things that they do before they come to my store or spend with me, what do they do after. So,
right.
So I'm getting a better understanding of my customer than I've ever had before.
Sure. So in terms of the audience that's watching, give me the categories of the kinds of titles and the kinds of companies that you can help so they know if they're watching to give you a call or to check out your website.
Sure. So I think, can I answer that by describing kind of the big problem we solve? Because I think that will help illustrate it. So if you're a marketer today, one of the biggest challenges you have is you have a huge blind spot in terms of understanding your customer, which is kind of an odd thing to say, I suppose, because brands have a lot of great data. They have CRM data, website data, social data, search data. It's largely sort of digital environment data. Where they don't have a great sense around yet, and surprisingly for many brands, they're still getting caught up is in mobile, right? Mobile's become the first screen. It's where we spend the majority of our time in the digital world. Then you complement that, go beyond digital time spent, and you look at, where do we spend 60 to 80% of our waking hours? Out and about in the physical world, right? How do we just go about our days, going to work, going to school, going to the store, et cetera? That's an area that marketers haven't been able to tap into yet. And so that's a big blind spot because they don't have a view and understanding in the data set yet to understand how their customers spend the majority of their time. That's where NinthDecimal comes in. We fill that gap in understanding for a marketer. And so who wants to be able to tap into that? Who are the customers? We work very closely with the advertising agencies. And so these can be anywhere from the teams that are running the media within an agency, the media teams, to the research and the analytics teams at the agencies as well that are trying to get very sophisticated, bringing a lot of different data signals to better understand who an audience is for their clients. We'll work directly with the brands as well. A brand that says, I have a lot of very rich first-party customer data, my CRM data, and I'd love to be able to unlock that. How do I get that out of my system so I can go do something with it to be more effective in communicating to my existing customers? We'll work with publishers, so all of those 75,000 app partners that would like to better understand their customer and tap into our data is another customer segment. The last are the TV networks. One of the things that we've done is rolled out a variety of TV solutions, from being able to better target and plan TV buying to measuring the effectiveness of TV advertising. And so the TV networks are rolling out our solutions across the board. So we really work across those four sectors.
Well, is that for watching the TV on the device, or you can track that they're in their living room? Which is it?
Really across the spectrum. But if you think about that living room TV viewing behavior, we've created a unique way to be able to bridge online and offline data sets. So being able to recognize, hey, this household watched this TV show, these devices reside at that household, and so therefore these devices watch that TV show.
Is it almost like a Shazam-like thing where you're listening to the TV to determine, or you can't? Or is it proprietary and we can't share it?
No, it's not like a Shazam where you have to use the audio watermarks to understand that. Using location data, I can create those patterns to recognize where a device, what household a device is associated with, and then behaviors associated in offline data, purchase data, TV viewing data to that household. I can match those two things together, put it into basic terms. So if I'm Taco Bell and I want to run a Taco Bell TV commercial, I can now measure the people who saw that TV commercial, did they come to my stores? And so that's that TV viewing aspect of being able to create the measurement. I can also reverse that. I can see, hey, well, here are all the people that frequently go to Taco Bell. I can now look at what TV shows do they tend to watch. And Taco Bell can use that data to say, you know what, this is the best place for me to be most effective with my advertising to reach my customer. By the way, I'd also love to understand my competitors, what shows their customers watch, and I can now use TV as a conquest
There's like
strategy.
trillions of dollars of waste that you're eliminating by doing this, right? Because
Massive.
advertising is very effective, but also not 100% efficient.
Correct, and if you just look at TV, let's say that's a $70 billion industry right there. TV buying has largely been based on two signals, gender and age. Show me shows that tend to index high for females 18 to 34. But we go down to that desire of a brand that says, I want to really reach my customer. I'd love to understand the shows that my customer specifically watches. Or I'd love to get more detail, because when I buy digital, when I buy mobile video, when I buy online video, I can go much better than females 18 to 34. I can get very rich in terms of that targeting. Help me apply that to TV now. That's what we're doing.
So what have we left out, if anything?
On the measurement and the attribution side, I think it's an interesting area. We talked a lot about how we can build audiences and customer insight. On the attribution side, again, take that TV example of Taco Bell that we just discussed. Hey, does somebody see that ad? Do they go to the store? My platform allows us to do that for mobile advertising, for desktop advertising, for TV advertising, for print advertising, for out-of-home advertising. And so what's happening is this idea of being able to track foot traffic has become a common currency from a very diverse perspective, right? It's really that omni-channel approach of advertisers who want to advertise across all that media. How does all of that work? And not only can I tell, hey, I'm able to successfully drive people into the store. I understand the drivers, which media worked well, which audience segments worked well, and I now have another metric, the cost per visit. So if I know that a visitor to my locations typically generates, let's say, $10 in revenue for me, and I know that I can now measure the fact that I can drive a cost per visit of $1, this is fantastic. I can really be effective. I know the channels that are going to drive that most ROI for me. And so now
And
we
you
have
also
these
find the
conversations.
saturation point.
Exactly. Over time, you start begin to find where does that extra dollar in advertising spend begin to flatten out in terms of the incremental return that it creates. So you start to look at reach and frequency type of questions through this platform.
Very exciting. So how do people find out more?
So the best way to find out more, come to our website, NinthDecimal.com, and that's where I would start.
Fantastic. Thanks for being here. This was great.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.